Okay, so Sam Bankman-Fried is the richest person under 30 years old right now. Also known by his initials SBF, he's the youngest person on the 2021 Forbes 400 list of wealthiest people in the world. So how did he get to this level of wealth so quickly? To find the answer, we have to travel back in time. The son of two Stanford law professors, Barbara Fried and Joseph Bankman, SBF was surrounded by law, economics, philosophy, and tax policy at a young age. Despite growing up in a household of education, SBF hated school. After high school, Bankman-Fried decided to attend MIT based on a coin flip, where he would pursue a degree in physics. In his second year at university, he would eventually discover effective altruism, which changed everything. You see, it was this philosophy that would guide him on his journey to wealth. As he went on to work for the Wall Street firm Jane Street Capital, Bankman-Fried would use his earnings and donate to animal welfare causes and other organizations he believed in. 2017, the year SBF went from a broker on Wall Street to cryptocurrencies. Alameda Research was Bankman-Fried's catapult that launched him into the crypto leaderboard. After observing large price gaps between American and Japanese crypto exchanges, he took advantage by buying and selling digital assets at a large rate. He said there was enormous demand for crypto coming out of Japan and not nearly as many liquidity providers.
I first started looking into crypto not because of anything to do with blockchain technology. It just seemed like a good trading opportunity. That was sort of what my background was. And there are lots of signs that it was a space that had a ton of demand and a ton of excitement and interest and volume, but not very much liquidity. And what that means is there's a pretty significant chance that customers are not getting great prices when they're trading.
Eventually, he'd be making $10 to $15 million a day just from this unique arbitrage opportunity. The young entrepreneur would go on to create the cryptocurrency exchange FTX in May 2019 with business partner Gary Wang after moving to Hong Kong. February 20, 2020. The day that the stock market crashed was caused by the global event, the coronavirus. The deadly virus sent a shockwave of negative events that would lead millions of people to lose their jobs and enter extreme financial hardship. Suddenly, people all around the globe had to figure out how to make ends meet through unusual methods. Those that adapted shifted their mindset towards building multiple sources of income. Now, at this time, the FTX token was trading at $2.60 and had a 24-hour volume of $2.67 million. In August of 2020, the company acquired Blockfolio, a cryptocurrency portfolio tracking app, for $150 million. This purchase would prove to be the best investment Sam and his partner Gary could have made. Okay, so as more and more people began to realize that financial freedom and independence were so important, channels that covered topics on finances and crypto did well with the attention shift towards financial education and investing. This online explosion of finance and investing was a shock to millions of people that were never taught the basics. School never taught them, their parents thought the schools were teaching them and didn't know enough themselves to teach, and it seemed common for people to just not know about finance. I mean, who was to blame them? Things like finances, taxes, and investing were far too boring to understand. With the huge shift in awareness towards money, content creators were incentivized to make the finance industry as simple as possible so that people of all backgrounds could understand. Meanwhile, FTX was making huge business moves in the shadows with partners like the Miami Heat's basketball stadium, esports organization TSM, the MLB, Tom Brady, Kevin O'Leary, and Stephen Curry. By the summer of 2021, FTX was worth $18 billion, raising $900 million from over 60 investors, including big companies like Binance, SoftBank, Paul Jones, and Alan Howard. By the end of the year, the company was able to move its headquarters from Hong Kong to the Bahamas, where they would start the year with a $2 billion venture fund named FTX Ventures. All right, so all those events led us to the present day, but what exactly made SBF so successful? Was it a stroke of luck from his early discovery of crypto trading? Or did he just stumble upon the unregulated world of digital money by chance? Well, according to a conversation with Business Insider, Bankman-Fried attributes most of his success to the philosophy we briefly covered in his past, effective altruism.
In the end, my goal is to do as much good as I can for the world. I'm part of an effective altruism community. Basically, it's a group of people looking to try and figure out, if you want to maximize the amount of good you do, maximize the positive impact that you can have on the world, what does that imply? What does that mean you should do with your life? And I think it sort of grew out of like, here's a group of charities, you're going to donate $100, which will save the most lives, right? Which saves the most lives per dollar donated.
Ironically, the belief that one must work hard to give to others has made the 29-year-old the youngest person to have amassed such a net worth. Many of the greatest billionaires that have changed the world have all given a lot to different causes, like Andrew Carnegie, Bill Gates, and George Soros. And Sam Bankman-Fried is no different. Tons of respected publishers have illustrated that Bankman-Fried is not the average billionaire and that he possesses a deep and genuine concern for the state of humanity. He worked for the Center of Effective Altruism for 2 months and came out with the understanding of how important it was to use his earnings to have a positive impact on the world. There is a lot for us to learn about how earning to give and ultimately helping others is the best way to build a fortune. Of course, there are tons of other lessons that we can all learn from when it comes to Bankman-Fried's success. But I think the most important lesson to learn is that he genuinely wants to help the world and that he doesn't stop once he finds success. Before he founded FTX, his company Alameda Research was making $20 million a day in profit from his Bitcoin trading. And Bankman-Fried could have easily taken profit and retired comfortably for the rest of his life. However, he was not satisfied, and about a year after founding Alameda, he began the process of creating a cryptocurrency exchange. Exchanges at the time were not professional, and there was a lot of room for improvement when it came to the performance of complex securities like BitMEX. Again, his goal is to help others, and it is this constant search for what he can do for others that led him onto his next business venture. I wouldn't be surprised if after FTX grew to a company that could be automated, he would simply find another area of the world that needs improvement and help where he can. It has always been that way, and I think that is the reason for Sam Bankman-Fried's success.
That's not going to convince people to bother checking out FTX, right? Like, this sort of like, have you thought about using our exchange? It's good. Picture of the logo. I don't know. We want something cooler than that. Something that'll get, that people will really be excited to think about.